Hello everyone, welcome back to an episode of the Guild Wars 1 Let's Play. We're here doing another dungeon. This is the Catacombs of Kathandrax. This is another recording. I had a friend with me today, or back when I did this. We are duoing it. You can solo this dungeon, but I figured I'd bring a friend along just to make it a little bit easier. It's a pretty fun dungeon. I like it. I've done it in quite a bit in the past. It's pretty good. It's kind of fire themed, for lack of a better term, and there's a hammer drop from the end of this that is worth relatively consistent money. It's one of the ways people get legendary survivors. So obviously the way we're doing it, we're not doing it to make money, we're doing it for fun. So we're using a ton of consumables and extra stuff, but realistically you could probably do it with just a BU. You might even, but since the drop is per player, if you wanted to maximize money, you'd want to bring 8 people or at least 8 accounts in here. But, this series isn't about making money. This is about just doing the dungeon. Dungeon in general tips. A lot of fire stuff, so don't bring fire damage. A lot of mesmers, so bring interrupts. A lot of casters. This first floor here is basically just a run to this worm down here. I should be using my sword here, but whatever. Also, I shouldn't be standing in the fire, but just kind of generally the way you want to do this is you'll have someone who can kill or at least tank the enemies on floor 3, and then a whole bunch of people that just do damage. There's a whole bunch of different ways you can organize the party to do this. I prefer a ranger tank, especially in lower numbers, because you can kill the first boss on 3rd floor, but we'll get to that when we get to it. Builds aren't really optimized. We just kind of ran whatever. Again, relatively easy dungeon, despite being probably one of the longer ones. As with most of the dungeons, just a lot of running for the first 2 floors. This dungeon doesn't really have any incubuses in it. Incubuses? Not exactly sure what the plural is. But for that reason, it actually makes it so it's a pretty smooth run most of the time. We were just talking about builds or something at this point. Other optional builds we were thinking about running. So yeah, we only have a couple dungeons left of the ones that are pretty easy for me to actually do. I get Katie here because, of course. But yeah, there's only a couple dungeons left that are the easy ones to do, and after that we'll be on to the ones where I'm probably going to be using more heroes and going through them. And we're actually getting close to the end of the dungeons, so we're going to be getting into War in Kryta soon. That's exciting. The next couple videos, I'm not sure how quick they'll come out. Specifically, the final dungeon of Eye of the North. I want to get some friends together to do it with me, so it's not as painful. And that one's going to be another, speed clear kind of way. So I just need to see whenever they have time, but it shouldn't be too much of a delay. If there is a big delay, we might just start War in Kryta and then go back to it. But if there isn't, then it will just keep continuing on this way. This is the last of the Ebon Vanguard dungeons, by the way, I believe. Actually, no. We haven't done Cathedral of Flames yet. That's still up. That's still on the list of places to do. Yeah, here we're just running. The mini boss for this floor is coming up here on the right pretty soon. A lot of... Even if you're just running this by yourself with heroes, this is probably one of the easier dungeons because not a lot of these mobs are super annoying. The Roaring Ethers on the first floor could be pretty rough, but everything else is very manageable. In hindsight, I don't know why I didn't use my expertise sword here. I also like how my friend runs out of the honor when he autos. You can actually give weapon spells to the Evas as well. The little thing it spawns. I think we get a little lost going through here. I think we maybe take a wrong turn at some point. No, yeah, that's where we were looking down there because some of the dungeons have you go that way because this is one of the probably the more common reused passageways in dungeons. Here, these things have dropped disenchant, so that's pretty annoying. I don't think either of us eat a disenchant, thankfully. Yep, we're still just running. The worms and the lava here are pretty cool. The aesthetic of this dungeon is pretty cool. This is like the most fire dungeon, probably. Or at least it's one of the most fire dungeons. It's got those ethers and those fire djinns. You don't really see those a lot in other dungeons. The worms from Frostmaws are back, but they're different, like, they're different creatures. They don't actually follow you and all that kind of stuff. Thank God I hate Frostmaws so much. I don't know why I didn't just zone there. But this is the final floor. This is the only floor that's got some little bit of weird stuff to it. So for this floor, you have to kill these becalming djinns here, and it'll make the stuff in the center aggro you. And you need this. And the way you generally do this is you have one tank grab all these little roller beetles that you'll see in a second that are all out in the center here. Here we get another one. Yeah. But yeah, these things make the little dudes I'm about to grab, the beetles and the spiders, actually stay on you. If you don't, they'll just kind of run around and do whatever they want if you don't kill enough of these becalming djinns. I think it's normally 2. At least I'm pretty sure it's 2. At least that's always the amount we've killed in the past. And my friend's just sitting in the back over there while I make sure I establish aggro of everything. If you're doing this with heroes, I would be very careful here, because this is definitely one of the parts where stuff could go wrong and you could over aggro. Thankfully, you respawn right here, but you definitely want to be careful. I'm just grabbing all the aggro for him, and then he's going to run up there and grab the mini-boss. The mini-boss has a very powerful attack that also rips enchantments, so we're actually going to be using a wall glitch to kill it. We're just kind of like making sure I have the aggro here before he goes up. Yeah, I'm drawing from him right now. This is the only kind of rough part of this dungeon. Honestly, if you're doing it with heroes, this part would be pretty easy because you just clear up to it. But if you're doing it kind of solo or with somebody, this is the part that's annoying. You got to get in there and pop the boss and bring him back. Just so he just kind of runs in there. I think he actually gets him on this one. Yeah, he gets him. The Forge Master, I believe, is the name of the guy. But yeah, he rips your enchantments off, so you need to be very careful. Oh, no, he doesn't get him, so he has to go back. So you have to be very careful in this part. But this is why you have the tank, basically, just so he can hold all these spiders. So the whoever is dealing with that guy over there doesn't need, you know, can get him. For the lower men, or, you know, 1 man, 2 man, you're probably just going to do this, where you pull the boss back and then have somebody kill it. With a full team, you just basically pull the believe there he is. The Flame Djinn. Yeah, you just pull the Flame Djinn out, and he... Like, you just kill him as a group, basically. You just pull him back here and then kill him as a group. So here you'll see, I think he gets me. Actually, no, he doesn't. He thankfully gets Shadow Form, which I don't actually need for this part. I just need Shroud. So I'm able to just grab my aggro. He's glitched against the wall whenever you pull him back here. And then just like shimmying my way back over here. Give him a nice little whirly whirl. I'm honestly, at this point, I said I was too paranoid to auto-attack him because he'll just murk me, so I just let the whirling slowly kill him, even though I could have killed him faster with actually attacking him. But that was a pretty, all in all, that was actually pretty clean. Normally it's much rougher to get through. Or normally I feel like I have a much harder time getting through. I don't know what I'm doing here. I'm like messing around my inventory and stuff like that. As I normally do. My friend gets erupted on his shadow form here. But yeah, this last part, we're coming up on the final boss of the dungeon pretty soon. This boss is kind of interesting, kind of not. So essentially what he does is he'll drop fire bombs on you and you need to pull them away. You're just still making the run there. Again, no real, unlike some of the other dungeons, especially in this area, not a lot of hard enemies, not a lot of super annoying mechanics, to be honest with you. Just very clean, lots of running, and stuff like that. I don't think I get hit by a disenchantment here, thankfully. Yeah, no, I don't get dissied. But you'll see coming up here, the boss takes a little bit because it's just the two of us. But the one thing you want to know about this boss is that in this room, whenever you aggro him, it's going to spawn 2 orbs that go around the room. Yeah, so you want to make sure you're not in range of any of those. And then, you see my friend there just got that fire bomb. You just want to make sure you take the fire bombs and drop them out away from everybody. Then you just keep shadow form up and keep shooting them. Does not take long. Well, it takes a little bit of time, but it's not very rough. So I figure while we're watching this, I think I'll pull up the quest dialogue, probably. Yeah, I apologize for that. Quick little flick. But yeah, this is basically just how this goes. But let's pull up the old quest dialogue. The quest for this place is called... See if I can find it real quick. I don't know. Having trouble finding it on the wiki. Kathandrax Crusher is the name of the quest. Let me see. Let me grab the dialogue real quick. A little scuffed. So the initial dialogue. I was sent here by Captain Langmar as our mission to recover Kathandrax Crusher, a great dwarven weapon. On our way to the caves, we were ambushed by an overwhelming char force. Their numbers were many, and we suffered great losses. I should have died in that battle with the others, but Captain Langmar made it clear that recovering the weapon was more important than anything. With all hopes of victory was lost, I retreated with but few fighters left standing. To bolster our remaining force, I set 2 men to summon reinforcements. They have not returned. The caves are infested with fire elementals and other terrible creatures. Our numbers are few, and we no longer have the strength to reach the weapon. If you would take up arms or retreat, we would compensate you justly. And I'll not let your hopes be crushed. I'm in. I'm feeling a little crushed myself. I'm out. And the reward dialogue here is, you found it, Kathandrax Crusher. I'll assign one of my men to return to Captain Langmar immediately. Your victory here will not be forgotten. I will personally make sure Captain Langmar knows who is responsible for retrieving the most important artifact. So yep, they got here, they got wrecked, and then we get it. Very standard story. We're just kind of like messing around here as it's almost done. Try to get enough energy back to actually use my spells. There we go. That's the dungeon. Not too bad. Not too bad. It's a pretty fun one to do, actually. I enjoyed doing this one back in the day. There's a pretty cool sword that drops from here. Unluckily, I don't think either of us end up with it this run, but there's a pretty cool unique weapon from here, and those hammers of Kathandrax used to go for a pretty okay amount of money. But that's going to be all for today's episode. I want to thank you for coming out. I hope you have a great day. I hope to see you in the next one. Bye-bye.